Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to set up a scene because we're going to render an image. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into object mode, select our robot, make sure everything is selected. What we're going to do here actually is we're just going to move these to another plane. So we're going to press M and move here, and if we check on, we can see that our entire rig is on the second layer, which is good because we don't need it visible at the moment. So now we've got our Blender bot, we've got it at a good size, and now I'm just going to create a scene. So I'm going to start by creating a plane underneath Blender bot. If we zoom in, we can see that the plane needs to be directly just underneath that. Looks perfect. There we go. So that's a perfect start plane, and perhaps just a tiny bit too high. Grab said, and then down on the down key on your keyboard just once, and enter. So you want it to get to the point where the bottom of the feet just become invisible through the plane, and that looks excellent. Now I'm going to scale that plane by 10, and got to be careful because we currently have the pivot point to the 3D cursor, which means that the plane moves as well as scales, so we need to change that back to median point. And now we can scale 10. Excellent. Now our camera is facing in from this angle, and we're just going to bring that up and away. Now what I want to do is I want to get the camera right first and foremost. So to do that, I'm going to press 0 on my number pad, and that takes me into camera view. So whatever you see within this box that's highlighted in orange, this is the image that will be rendered. Anything outside of that box will not be rendered in your image or your animation. So I'm going to just press G to grab my camera and move it about so that's pretty central. I'm going to press G again and just change that just a little bit more. Now I think I'm going to move that backwards and up slightly, and backwards and up slightly, because it's a little bit too close. Press 0 again, we can see that it's moved, so let's sort this out. And that looks better. I think it needs to go just a little bit closer actually. So got to be careful actually, because I think I've just hidden the camera. Yes, I have. And then just press G and center that just a bit. That looks good. There we go. And I'm just going to rotate the camera just to the side a bit, just to give us a funky look. Okay, now we've got to be careful with that, because now our actual screen has ended up on its side, so just got to be careful with that. It's not a problem for now. If we press 1, there we go. Fantastic. So if you ever find yourself in a problem where you've adjusted the camera and then as you pan around your 3D universe it's still at that angle that you've adjusted it to, just press one of the numpad buttons to go into a two-dimensional view, and that instantly solves the problem. Now I'm going to select the plane, tap E to go into edit mode, so press tab to go into edit mode, not E, go into edge select, I'm going to select this edge, and I'm going to press E to extrude, Z along the Z axis, up to there will do nicely. And then I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to turn on snapping, because I want it to snap to this corner so that they're the exact same size. We're going to do vertex snapping, and I'm going to press E, Z, up, and then hover over and click. Now if I press tab to come out of edit mode, we've got our scene, very basic room scene. I'm going to turn snapping off, we don't need that anymore, and I'm going to press 0. Excellent, so now we've got a bit of a scene to work with. Let's have a look at this in a viewport shading. So texture first of all, materials as we can see. So now we can get a good idea of our Blender bot and how it looks. Let's see how it looks in rendered view. And it's just taking a minute to load up. Okay, that's interesting. Now, because of the lighting effects and because of our plane scene, which has been given a default color, we currently have a pretty greyish scene, and it doesn't really bring out the best in our Blender bot. So we need to sort out the color of the scene. So to do that, I'm going to come into solid view again, and I'm going to first of all go into my node editor for my lamp, and I'm just going to reduce that strength down to 3.5 because we think it's a little bit too strong at the moment. If we go back into rendered view, the lighting looks really good on BlenderBot. I'm happy with that, but it's far too strong on the walls. So now we're going to sort out the material for the walls. So we're going to go into materials, we're going to click new material for our wall, and we're going to give it a reddish background. And if we zoom in, we can see that's looking quite a bit better now. So if we press 0 to zoom in, and I think I'm just going to darken the backdrop just so that there's a little bit more emphasis on our Blender bot, and I think that will do for our basic scene. So the final thing we're going to do is we're going to render this image. This is what we're going to be rendering, this image here. So we're going to go into the render tab, and for me I'm going to switch this to GPU compute because I have a really powerful GPU to use. I'm going to keep the resolution settings as they are, and I'm going to keep the file format as it is, but I need to select an output. So I'm going to select this button here, and I'm going to go into Documents, Blender. This is all for me, so you're going to obviously have something different, and I'm going to go Reference Material for this, and I'm going to accept it. So now I've got a place where this image file is going to be stored to, and it's going to be stored as a PNG. Finally, I'm going to go to sampling, and I'm going to increase the number of final render samples. 10 is very low, so I'm going to increase this to 500 and enter. So now that's increased to 500 samples, which is still quite low for an image. So actually I'm going to go 700, just a little bit higher. And now I'm going to go to File or Render, or I could come up here and press Render. So I'm going to press Render, and then it's going to begin the process of rendering my scene. Click. And what you're looking at now is Blender trying to render our scene. Now this will take a fair while, so to save time I'm going to just fast forward to the end result. Okay, so we're now coming towards the end. It's taken me over 3 minutes to render this, and I should stress that 700 is a reasonable image sample size, and this is a very powerful laptop, and this has still taken me 3 minutes and 16 seconds to render, as we can see up here in this frame here. But there we go guys, so that is my rendered image. Feel free to post your rendered images in the discussions, and I will see you in the next lecture where we will begin creating the appropriate Blender interface that we need to perform our animations.